Same-sex marriage is now legal in all of Mexico states. Vaush, they didn't have it before? No. Lawmakers in the border state of Tamaulipas voted Wednesday night to legalize same-sex marriages, becoming the last of Mexico's 32 states to authorize such unions. This measure to amend the state's civil code passed with 23 in favor, 12 against, and 2 abstentions, setting off cheers of "Yes, we can" from supporters of the change. Yeah, it's pretty great, actually. Um, it's pretty cool too, because we probably won't have ours for a little while longer. you know, Mexico is not as conservative on the gender and sexuality stuff as I thought. I didn't realize this until a little while ago because I made a joke about Hispanic people being phrenologically predisposed towards homophobia, which was a flippant joke. But I got an email from someone saying like, "Hey, just so you know, there's actually like Mexico is not that homophobic, really. You should look into it." So I kind of want to, you know? Same-sex marriage is legally recognized and performed or pending throughout Mexico. Only civil marriages are recognized by Mexican law, and all proceedings fall under state legislation. Since August 2010, same-sex marriages performed anywhere within Mexico were recognized by the 31 states without exception, and fundamental spousal rights, such as alimony payments, inheritance rights, the coverage of spouses by federal Social Security, also applied to same-sex couples throughout the country. In 2015, the Supreme Court of Justice of the nation ruled that state bans on same-sex marriage violate the federal constitution. So, as I understand it, Mexico has a better history on this than we do. I didn't know this. They had national recognition of same-sex marriage to a point. It's been kind of like a procedural, like gradual recognition in a bunch of different ways. But for us, it was just a couple of states recognized it, and then federally it was recognized, and we're probably going to lose it again soon. But right now, the court's ruling is considered a jurisprudential thesis and did not invalidate any state laws, but required judges and courts throughout Mexico to approve all applications for same-sex marriages, and any marriage law that was changed and did not recognize same-sex marriage would be declared unconstitutional and invalidated. And then, by 2 days ago, everywhere had legalized same-sex marriage either by legislation, executive action, or Supreme Court order. Mexico has a pretty significant degree of federalization, so I guess it took a little while for for all the all the T's to be crossed and all the I's to be dotted. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, look, by state. I don't know anything at all about the different Mexican states, by the way. Like I don't know. I'm sure there are like strong national stereotypes within Mexico of like, oh, this people is like this and these people are like that. But I don't know. Mexico has states, yeah. I don't think they have the same degree of federalization as the United States, but the US is pretty unique in that respect. Vaush, my state is the one that gets stereotyped as the incest state. That's funny. I have a difficult time looking at court cases from Mexico, or in fact anywhere that isn't the US, because I have a very limited knowledge of US court proceedings as it is, and I have no knowledge of other court proceedings. Like I have no clue what the laws are in Mexico, like none at all. I feel like if you're in a country that isn't America, you basically just default to like a 10 commandments understanding of the legal system where you're like, okay, if I don't steal, if I don't kill, I'm probably fine, right? Like, do you read the full legal code to a country before going in? Nobody does this. You're just like, okay, I'm just gonna, okay, just don't hurt anyone, don't do capital C crimes. That's the most American thing I've ever heard you say. No, nobody like fully understands the legal system because every legal system is like really complicated and there's a ton of like niche shit you can get in trouble for, potentially, but you can't know that whenever you like visit a country. Yeah, unless you're going to some place like Saudi Arabia, in which case like, okay, here are some extra things you have to take into account. You should come to Cabo. I've heard nice things about Mexico. Here, somebody linked this from Mexico. Tacos gay. That's true. Saudi is more lax with tourists now. Yeah, of course they are, because the Saudi royal family doesn't give. They're not real Muslims. The Saudi royal family does not give a shit. They would deck Mecca out with a bunch of like hot dog stands and like beer, like the stuff you can get at like a baseball game. Like $28 for a plastic cup full of piss beer or whatever. They don't give a fuck about Allah. What's a real Muslim look like? Not the fucking Saudi royal family, I'll tell you that much. They are so disingenuous, you know? Holy shit. Yeah, they want to make Mecca a giant fucking tourist trap. Put it in a WWE stadium. Just have two gigantic muscular guys in head wraps fucking power bombing each other on top of the big cube, you know? Well, Joshua, I think you have to handle it the same way, right? You have a right to exist and a right to defend yourself, even if the people who are denying you that right are Muslim. But Vaush, the Five Guys in Mecca doesn't serve bacon? That's fucked up. Hold on. Mecca Five Guys. Hell yeah. TripAdvisor. 66 reviews. Worst burger I ever had. That's what I'm talking about. Here it is, guys. This grainy photo is from the Five Guys at Mecca. They're all so grainy. This is really off-putting. I like how this is all still in English. I don't know. If you're a fast food chain, do you not put up signs that are in the language of the area that you're in? Or are there like Russian McDonald's where they have "I'm loving it" printed in English on the walls? I don't know. They keeping it authentic? True. Where was the Starbucks at Guantanamo Bay? I want a coffee from the Gitmo Starbucks more than anything. I want that shit so fucking bad, dude. Oh my fucking god. This is the honest to God Gitmo Starbucks. This is a real thing. There is a Starbucks that operates on our like illegal torture camp that we have on the Cuban island. My dudes out here can finish like waterboarding some guy called like whose crime was being called like Arbern al Jihad, Abdul Muhammad or something. And he was like a Radio Shack technician, but there's some guy in Afghanistan who has his name. So they were like, oh, that's him. They fucking yoink him and he's still there. Come to Brazil? Yeah, elect Lula and maybe. Can we unionize this Starbucks? Yeah, true. Shit, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. We need to unionize the Gitmo Starbucks. Absolutely. Can you imagine a bunch of the people working here who are Cuban? Right? Because it's a military base in Cuba. So I imagine the jobs here that are non-military are from like Cuban like it's like a local no, wait. I don't know if it's on the base or if it's near the base. The workers are government contractors. Okay, okay. Yeah, I guess that makes more sense. Yeah. A bunch of government contractors working at McDonald's. Doing the union protest. Whoa. In September 2018, Morena Senator German Martinez introduced a draft proposal to codify certain court rulings pertaining to the legal rights of same-sex couples into law, namely Social Security benefits and the right to a widow or widower's pension. On the 6th of November, the Senate unanimously approved the bill 110-0, and it unanimously passed the Chamber of Deputies later that month 415-0. The bill was gazetted on the 29th of November. Can you imagine this ever happening in our legislature? Congress could never. Is the Communist Party in Cuba popular amongst its people? Moderately. It's a single party state, not like a full democracy, so it's kind of a slanted, it's kind of like a weighted question. There were protests against the government's handling of COVID recently, but they were framed as like anti-government protests, which they kind of were, but they weren't like the bad kind of anti-government protest, which was like a color revolution. They were like maybe the good kind, but it was complicated. It was a whole thing. I don't know. The Cuban government has done remarkably well for its people, considering the circumstances it's had to deal with. Is that like asking if Putin is popular in Russia? Nah, Putin is 100% like an autocrat. The Cuban government is in many respects beholden to their people. It's very complicated. They're not It's not a full democracy. There are authoritarian elements to Cuba that I strongly disagree with. However, like within the purview, does Cuba have fair elections? I think so, but it's a limited election, right? Like I think the elections are fair within the framework of what they allow you to vote for, which is of course like the Cuban Communist Party. Like the defenders of the revolution. Um no, a Cuban research stream would be good, yeah. American elections really aren't much better. We're literally about to be fascist couped. So, yeah, obviously not. you know, look up the Maya train, give your assessment. I know about the Maya train. Didn't they talk about that in the Well, There's Your Problem podcast? Isn't the Maya train the government basically going like, what if we spent $1 billion building a tourist trap? And like, let's like build it through indigenous areas and like do a bunch of wacky shit and it'll be cool because like rich Instagram white women will go on it and take photos and they'll be like hashtag Mexico, hashtag margarita, hashtag sombrero. Listen, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say this, and maybe people are going to get mad for me, but you Mexicans are fucking lucky that your stupid vanity government projects are public infrastructure, okay? Over here in America, the last time we had a public infrastructure themed vanity project, it was Elon Musk building the fucking dugout loop under Dodger Stadium so that we'd have one like 15-mile-per-hour lane that cost $8 billion to build so people can chug their way through RGB lighting tube over to the gigantic parking lot. You know, I'm not saying this is good. I'm just saying like fuck. I wish America's like money wasting you know, I wish that America wasted its money on shit like this, you know? God, that would be preferable. Still, this is bad. It is bad, but like, you know, whatever. There is a great Well, There's Your Problem podcast episode on this that is that they have a guest on, a Mexican guest who's hold on. Do they not call it the Maya train? Do they have another name? Oh, I think they use like the indigenous name. I remember because it's got a colorful. Here it is. Oh, El Tren Maya. There, yeah.
Why do I have to
Indigenous name.
fucking
It's just
type
in
you third thing?
Spanish. God.
Shake hands with Dane.
And they had to like son who like wants you know, to sort of live in a big fancy palace, right? You don't want to do governing. You certainly don't want to go out into yeah.
So you had this sort of whole 3-foot narrow gauge railroad system on this.
Oh, this episode is where I learned that for a time the Mexican government would like do frontiering, where they would try to like establish, they would try to like provide for the people in these smaller towns by having a train run directly through them with supplies. They wouldn't just have freight trains. It would be like they would build a grocery store built by the rail track, and when the scheduled train delivery came, it would come with like eggs and milk and flour and stuff like that, and they would just put it in the grocery store, and it was just like a way of like restocking these smaller.
The train would drop off this boxcar once a week, and there was a guy who lived in there, and he would sell you groceries.
Oh, it's even cooler. They didn't stop at a grocery store. They would drop off the fucking train segment. The train, and just a guy would be in there. It'd just be like the train grocery guy, and they would just drop off the segment. The car, yeah.
See, this is like Friato Tutti, right? So you have like, on the one hand, you have progress in the form of the train car full of groceries comes to your town. On the other hand, you have order, and it's like, if you say anything bad about the train car that comes to your town, we will shoot you in the fucking head.
Yes.
That's true. Well, There's Your Problem podcast. Please don't copyright me for showing that. I love your good things, even if you hate me, guys. Go subscribe. It's very good. It's very good podcast. Please. They hate you. Everyone hates me. You want a command for them? Fuck it. Why not? Yeah, I really like them. That guy performatively blocking it was so cringe. Well, that was Devin from the Kill James Bond podcast. Yeah, unfortunately, my reputation precludes me, so a lot of these people are just going to hate me off the bat, but it's not going to stop me from loving them. No. Maybe if they didn't want me to like their content, they shouldn't produce good content. Curious.